This episode is sponsored by Monkey Stuff. Monkey Stuff makes things for makers. We're inspired every day by the craft and creativity of makers and design and manufacture tools and accessories to try to make your making life a bit more delightful. Our products are designed in California, by makers and for makers, and manufactured in the USA. Check out our line of pottery accessories and tools at monkeystuff.com. Follow us on Instagram to see what we're up to in our studios, and keep on making great things.
This episode is brought to you by Snow Farm, the New England Craft Program. Are you looking to take your ceramic skills to the next level? Check out the incredible 2 to 5 day workshop offerings at Snow Farm, where world-class ceramic artists lead hands-on immersive workshops in wheel throwing, hand building, surface design, and more. Whether you're just starting or refining your voice in clay, there's a workshop for you. Set in the stunning Berkshire Hills of Western Massachusetts, this residential craft school is the perfect place to create, connect, and get inspired. To register for a workshop today, visit snowfarm.org. Welcome to the Tales of a Red Clay Rambler podcast, featuring interviews with culture makers from around the world. This is Ben Carter. I'm going to be your host. If you'd like more information on the show, please visit our website, talesofaredclayrambler.com. Welcome back to episode 564 of the podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. This week we are returning to our series More Than a Maker, which focuses on the intersection of mental health and creativity. Today's guest, Mike Griffin, is based in Naples, New York, where he has dual careers as a golf pro and ceramic artist. In our interview, we talk about his hand-building process, the ways creativity counterbalances ADHD, and dealing with self-doubt in the studio. Without further ado, we'll get to the interview. You've developed a technique of building up out of molds. So before we talk about how you make the mold, I just want you to explain how thinking from the bottom helps you to visualize the top. Because it's almost like building a house, like you're thinking of the foundation and then everything above that. But I have a hard time doing that. So can you teach me how you think about it?
That's a pretty interesting way to look at it. It all came from trimming. Like, trimming is fun. I love trimming. Some people get lost in it, but it's just kind of an extra step that, for me as a busy person, it really requires the perfect leather hard or cheese hard. And I was never able to time that right. I was either trimming it too wet or trimming it too hard. And, then you got to put the lugs down and hold the piece in the middle, or use the Griffin grip, or what I usually do is just wet the lip and stick it and tap center. And then if you catch a thing, it goes flying across the room. And so it was more of a frustration thing than anything else. So then what I want, and I think the bases really came to me from, well, one was Mark Arnold, right? Mark used to do them out of plaster. And I saw him on a video one day, and it just clicked. And I was like, oh, that's genius. Of course, I hate plaster. And my good friend is Sean Murray. I don't know if you know Sean from Alfred. And he's like, Mike, it's just a 2-to-1 ratio. And I said, stop saying that. No, it's not that simple. I make a mess every time. So I kind of went from there, and then I realized I can make them out of bisque. And so now that it's done, and then that, I call it the lower shoulder, right? You have the shoulder, the top of the pot, that where the neck comes back in. I call this the low shoulder. And in hand building, that's a tough angle to keep. You know what I mean? Without going straight up on the sides. If you want to kind of go out and go wide, that's a tough angle, especially because you got to push more coils down on it. So this kind of holds that in place while I build on it. And then I can just pop it out and it's done, which is great.
Yeah, and because they're bisque, they're just so much more durable, like you can bang them around.
Yeah. I'll show you my plaster mold from a couple of years ago. Ellen Duvall was on the show the other day. I said, here's how I do plaster. Look, this thing's probably 10 years old and I can scratch my fingernail in it. It's not right. It's all chipped. And bisque is easy. And it's also, as you know, it's a little bit porous. So it helps dry the base. As a matter of fact, you got to be careful. If you leave it in there for too long, it'll kind of squeeze that where the foot ring is. It'll squeeze it, and then you got to kind of muscle it out.
Let's talk about how you make those. So when you have like kind of the inverted bowl shape that would be the bottom of a vase there, then how do you get the foot into the mold itself?
So I saw, well, Mark do one. I saw Richard Airney do one. And what I used to do with the mold with the plaster was I would throw it upside down on the wheel. So I would throw it like this on the wheel as a big mound, and then I would throw the foot ring, and then I would make a plaster mold of that to get this negative. And that's just a pain. It's just so hard. So I finally figured out that what I do is I just throw a bowl and I leave a fatter base. And what I'll use is the bottom of a paintbrush. And I really want a rounded paintbrush. So it makes the foot more rounded. I don't want a flat foot. Yeah, because then it'll dry better or slide better, I think, in the kiln. Yeah, so it's just a paintbrush.
What I like about this method too is that before you're touching the clay, the form is in your mind. Like you know how it's starting, and I would imagine you kind of know what you're shooting for the form to be.
Yeah, exactly. So I made that base to specifically make some bigger rounded forms. So yeah, I kind of have an idea what I'm going to make before I make it. And I kind of started doing those also. Well, I did them with mugs because it was fun and I saw Mark do it. And then I started doing them for plates because, as you know, as a potter, plates are a pain. They're a pain to trim. You got to use a ton of clay. You got to trim a ton off. You can trim right through them. And to make the foot the same every time, if I just make four of those the same or make one and make a mold out of it, then I can make the same plates every time. It's super easy-ish.
Do you set up like, let's say 10 of those molds in a row and then make 10 of the same pot? Or do you just like make a mug, make a plate, make a bowl? Like what's your process for the average day?
That's a really good question. I think we know each other a little bit, but we're getting to know each other. I can't make 10 of the same thing. I just can't do it. And what this allows me to do is to actually, we talk a lot on my show about ADHD in potters, right? In artists. I have a million things going on at once. I yelled at myself the other day. I was doing something and I was like walking through the studio. I was like, oh, there's that. And I stopped and I said, finish one thing. Like alone in the studio laughing at myself. But what you're saying is correct. I can do 6, 8 inches off of this and then go put it over there and then take the other one and do 6, 8 inches off that. So if I do 3 or 4 at a time, then they're kind of drying as I'm working on one. So I don't have to feel like I put it there and I got to wait for it to dry. I used to use a torch all the time just to because I wanted to go faster, I guess, which clay loves being pushed fast, doesn't
it? Crack City.
Exactly.
Well, I saw you drinking out of a Ron Philbeck mug over there.
Yes.
And I was talking to him years ago and he said that he intentionally now works where he'll make, like a mug, a pitcher, all the vertical things, but he won't make 10. He'll make like one of this, one of that, one of that. And his thinking at the time was it makes me pay attention to the form because there's very little muscle memory. It's more like a attentive focus. And I have not done that, but I'm interested in that idea. Like, how do people increase their ability to pay attention? So since you mentioned ADHD, how have you found that you can corral your brain and get focused in the studio?
Oh gosh, I don't know that I have, to tell you the truth. I don't know. I drink way too much coffee. I have an espresso machine over there. I see you drinking water. I'm thinking I should really drink more water. I don't know. I know that I know there's things that I have to make. And as a maker, sometimes you get a form in your head and you got to get it out. So that sometimes, and honestly, what I'll do in the morning is I'll purposely either roll a slab or throw 8 or 10 mug bodies, because then I can't leave without them being finished. So that kind of keeps me in here. And with, sort of limited time with lots of kids and stuff going on, I kind of have to pick and choose when I'm ready to make. So I kind of have stuff ready to go before, and I'm always behind. So there's always something I have to do, so how do I focus? I don't know. I'm still working on that, Ben.
Well, how we all navigate pressure is interesting because I've found if I have no pressure, like no deadline in the future, that I'm not efficient at all. Like I'll
Agreed.
just play. But then if I have too many deadlines, I get afraid and then I won't play at all. Like I won't do anything spontaneous. So how far in the future are you planning out shows to kind of give you that carrot to work towards?
That's a really good question. That's why I love listening to your show. You ask such great questions. I just chat with people because I love it. So great question. And this, to me, the spontaneity in a piece is where it really comes from. Right there, there has to be, from my work at least, there has to be that bit of play. Uh, because also, I'd say this often on the other show that I have a job, right? Which I'm trying to get away from. So this has to remain fun for me. And as a matter of fact, my tagline on my Instagram says, "My pots meet in the space between functionality and me having fun." Because if I'm not enjoying it, I'm probably not going to come down here every day. So I do, I plan workshops far in advance. Like I got two like next fall, and then I'm actually booking Aramon again for 2027 because they do their calendars out. Um, I just keep making. John Gill said to me once, "Don't make pots for a show, select pots for a show." So now when I get somebody who wants me to be in a show, I'm like, okay, I'll give you this one, this one, this one, and this one. Rather than going, oh my God, I got to make pots for that show, which I just did recently with Charlie Cummings, and then had some family stuff happen. My mom got sick, and I actually sent an email last week. I said, I can't do it. I don't have and I had one or two pieces that were slated for the show that didn't come out of the kiln right. So yeah, I try to stay as far ahead as I can, I think, with pieces. I don't feel like I want to actually make something for a show. I think that puts too much pressure on me. Because I don't want to feel like, oh my God, I have to make something good. I just want to make stuff, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, then I'm sorry. Right? Like I'm in that show at Antica coming up with Daryl Willard, the Resistance Cup show,
Okay, yeah.
which was cool because I made those F this mugs last year, and I just made them because I called them morning mugs because it's like that's how I feel in the morning. I haven't had coffee yet, and I don't want to deal with the day. F this. But she wanted them to be a little bit more conceptual, and I was like, oh boy, I'm not really a conceptual guy. I'm not. Maybe I am, and I don't know. But so I tried to make them a little more interesting. I don't know if you saw the ones I just put up with the flag upside down on them. So those I'm excited about. So those I made in advance, but it's a whole different, again, as you know, it's a whole different ball game when you're trying to make something. I don't want to be that way. I don't think it's conducive to good pieces. At least for me, I guess.
Let's talk surface a little bit because with those mugs that you're talking about, it's an upside down flag, American flag, with text F this on it. But that method of like highly graphic imagery, it seems to be like across the board a part of your aesthetic. So there's a couple different motifs that I see pop up. Floral motifs, also X's, like a lot of X's. So can you talk to me about choosing motifs, and then we'll talk about how you put them on the pots?
So the upside down flag, I was a Navy guy. So in naval terms, upside down flag means distress. And that's kind of where I feel we're at right now. I think hopefully everyone agrees with me. And I made it as tattered as I could. So that was those flags were water etched them. So I painted on with the underglaze, then I painted wax over them, and then I washed it away with a sponge because I wanted it to look like a mess. So hopefully those are, I just shipped them out the other day. And the floral ones, I don't know really where that came from. My nickname at work is Fancy Pants. And I wear big silly glasses. I've always been a colorful guy. My mom told me one time she went to the principal's office, because imagine that, I was in trouble in high school. And the lady said, "Did you see what your son was wearing when he left the house this morning?" I wore just crazy colored stuff and I didn't really care. And so I think that's where that comes from. But I like it. And it's fun to paint those. And I think people are gravitating towards it. And I think, oddly enough, it's sort of becoming a notable style for Mike Griffin. People like the florals, I guess. So I just keep going. I think I might do these two big bottles like that. Um, yeah, but I like a lot of movement on the surface. That's one of the reasons I think I went to terracige and black washing. I wanted to look patinaed. I wanted to look old and used. More maybe because I don't think I'm able to make the perfect pot. Like I see, like Mike Stumbris makes those porcelain things that are just freaking beautiful. Like I see people make stuff and I go, good Lord, you know, that's amazing. I think the rusticness from it all, like I hand carve my feet. I just use the wrong tool and I just gouge out a foot. It's like I was showing Tim C the other day. I'm like, is this the right tool? He goes, absolutely not. But it's a fun there's a freedom in that. I think, I want people to remember that it's just a mug. I want people to have fun with it. And then I rasp everything. And one of the reasons I rasp, I just got this big rasp from Diamond Core. One of the reasons I rasp a lot, well, one of the main reasons is I love that texture that it gives it, but also I can really control the weight of a pot. So it kind of goes backwards a step for me to where I can be really free on the wheel because I'm not trying to make it as thin and as light as I possibly can. I'm just throwing blanks and then I can shape them and make them, and when I gouge that foot, I'm taking off a 1/4 pound of clay off the bottom. So yeah, it's kind of like a way for me to be freer, I think.
One of the things that I love about your surfaces is you have a dark clay, dark cone 6 clay, then either underglaze or terracige or something you can see through. Mostly terracige, right? When you say the majority of it's terracige?
Yeah, mostly. I was actually got really well known for terracige, and I kind of haven't been using it lately. I was actually looking at a pot yesterday. I go, man, I got to get back to my terracige. Actually, I got to teach a class for it, so I better stay up on it. Yeah, I thank you for noticing that. So I started using lately. I put everything in the other room. Standard 266 Umbria, the black clay.
Yeah, that clay is great.
Oh my God, I love it. I call it black porcelain. It's just, and it's tough enough for me to be able to not be so specific. It lets me be the spastic person that I am and still stays the way I want. I used to use Alfred's clay for the longest time, and I just couldn't get it this year. They just had a shortage of Newman's Red, I think it was. Is that Newman's when you can't get? So I was really sad. I was like, oh my God, I started texting Sean and he was like, oh, we'll get a student to make you clay. Okay. And then in the interim, I got standard 308, the Brooklyn Red, and now I'm in love with it. So what I do with my red clay is I actually stain it black. So this big bottle is actually red clay, and I got a bunch I terracige it black. So then I'll biscuit black. So then I make the clay black. And then when I put the underglaze on, I sand it off like this jar. I want the black to come through. I feel like it gives a little bit of depth to the piece.
In that combination, we use that clay in the studio that I run, and boy, it is awesome. At cone like 5.5 or cone 6, it is totally vitrified. like, which is rare for a cone 6 clay. And then if you fire it too hot, though, it can bloat. So it's like, if you can ride the line of vitrification, it is just perfect at cone 6.
Ride the line of vitrification. We need a t-shirt that says that. So that's really funny you say that. Everyone I've talked to about the 266 says, what do you fire it to? And I'm like, well, I learned to go to 5. My liner glaze was like a 5.6, and the liner glaze works a little better at 5, luckily enough. So I've actually taken everything back down to 5 with a 10-minute hold. Yeah, to smooth stuff out. But yeah, it's ride the line of vitrification. This is some Mako stroking coats over it. Did you see that green mug that I put on my
I think
Instagram?
so. Yep.
That is just straight Mako stroking coat on black clay.
Oh, wow.
Dude, I sent an email to Mako yesterday. I said, hey, you guys want to sponsor the show? Because it's this Mako sour apple. Mm-hmm. Oh, but it looks so damn classy on that, right? I'm like, ooh, it looks like, you know what I mean? It looks very high end. I don't know.
Yes, that is awesome.
Yeah, so I'm excited to play with that some more. But then here's what happens: is the golf season shows up, and I'm like hitting the ground running with all these ideas, and I go, shit, you know.
Well, this is a good segue, because I wanted to talk about your other career as a golf pro.
Sweet.
How did you learn that you could make a living at golf? Because I think a lot of people golf as a hobby. A lot of people ceramics as a hobby. But both of your careers are careers. Like, you're an actual golf pro and you're an actual putter.
I did it. It's working. Well, if I made more money, it would be working. But so golf started for me, and it's really weird to say. I just turned 55, and I was playing at 5 years old with my grandmother. My father, when I was really young, he wasn't around. He was off. He was actually, no kidding, he was Joe Namath's agent. Remember Joe from the Jets back in the day?
Sure.
And he was Regis Philbin's agent. He was a bunch of NFL players. He was a big wig in the agency world, but he just left me and my mom, my brother, and all that stuff. So my grandma was not having it. So she told him, you're a jerk. And she would take me and my brother golfing like every weekend. So it was really just a way to go hang out with grandma and have iced tea and grilled cheese. Right. And just turns out, as a kid, I was just really good at it. I just picked it up at a young age. And so I've been playing for 50 years now, which is really weird to say. But I've always been really good at getting my point across to people. Like, I remember the first time I taught a lesson, I was actually the pro at a golf course. I had just got hired as the assistant pro, actually. And I was driving down, I'm looking down the other fairway, and I see a guy hit a ball, and I could see his swing flaw from 3 fairways away. And I'm just driven to go over and say, just let me help you. Like, I don't want to fix your swing. I just want to tell you what you're doing wrong, because you just did that wrong. You know what I mean? And so that turned into teaching, and I got really good at that, and I got a job here, which is like 2 miles from my house, and my buddy bought the golf course. And so now I'm just going to probably stay there till I retire. It's right down the street, and it's great. And it allows me November 1st to go, okay, leave me alone. I'll see you in April. And I'm in the studio nonstop. But to be honest, as much as I love golf, I would rather be making pots. Oh, well.
Well, what I love, though, about the sport itself is it's a sport in which, if you have a problem with the way you're connecting with the ball, you can change that with your hip movement. Like, a seemingly unrelated thing can change the output or the success of your swing. Mm-hmm. So I found that in ceramics too, like teaching people, like, yes, it is your hands, but also it's the way your elbows are moving or the way your back is curved or all those things. So for the non-golf people, can you explain how a golf swing works? If you're going to teach someone, like, straight up, how do you teach a non-golf person how to have a good swing?
On a non-visual podcast. That's
exactly.
How would the golf swing work? Well, I would think the most important thing for people, well, there's the three most basic things: grip, aim, and setup. If your grip is off, it's not going to go the same way twice. If you're aimed in the wrong spot, it's not going to go the same way twice. And if your setup is wrong, you're just gonna miss it more often. I think Ben Hogan said, if your ball position is off a quarter of an inch, you'll never hit the same shot twice. Which is, oh, great, thanks, Ben. But I think with most people I teach, they're so used to having just a club in their hand that they just want to hit it with what they have, which makes their shoulders spin out before their lower body. And like you just said, you have to have your hips in it. So I work mostly with people on path. So what I mean by that is there's in to out and out to in. So if you're looking at hitting the ball dead straight and you're a right-handed golfer, you actually have to hit it that way to the right to feel like, and I set people up, and I will, it's so much fun to do. I set them up and I go, okay, now you aimed right down the middle at the 150, and they go, yep. I go, now hit it in those trees over there. And they go, what? I go, just hit it into those trees. It's a range ball. Who cares? Right? And they hit it over there and it goes dead straight. And they go, huh. I'm like, I know. Like, people try to force it to go straight. It doesn't work that way because the golf swing is an arc. You know, you can't force it to go straight. But I do that on the range all the time. The members at the golf course are there, and I can't help it. Like, I watch people and I walk over and I go, hey, let me just try this and try this. And they hit one solid and they go, oh, and I go, you're welcome. And I walk away. And the guy, Kenny, he goes, hit this member, he goes, he does that all the time. It's annoying as hell, isn't it? Sorry. But yeah, so I love teaching. It's fun.
Well, there's a sound that a well-hit golf ball makes that there's nothing like that sound. Yep. And it's like, for one, it performs better because the ball is actually hitting the club correctly. So you get so much power out of it. But for another, like, it just makes the experience of golfing so much better.
Yes, you have felt it then.
That's great.
I've been doing this so long. I watch people hit balls and I go, did you catch that a little bit on the heel? And they go, how'd you know that? I go, I can hear it. You just hear it. You can hear the difference. But yeah, Ben Hogan, another one, he said, a well-struck golf ball is not affected by the wind. So yeah, you got to hit it solid. And that's the hardest part. You know, and then everyone says, well, how come the pros hit it so much further than we do? Well, there's a couple of reasons, but most of the time they're hitting the center of the club face. Yeah. It's called the sweet spot for a reason. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, good. We got to play sometime. Are you lefty or righty?
Well, nothing anymore. My back is not up for golf.
No, that's
which is
bad.
ironic because actually I feel like people that play golf, it is good for your back.
Yeah.
Where I grew up in Virginia was kind of an anomaly. We had a public golf course in the neighborhood I lived that was cheap. Like, as kids, we could go play for maybe $3, a $3 round of golf. And it was not a great golf course. It was basically a giant field. Mm-hmm. But for kids, my grandmother also taught me how to play golf. And we would just go there, and it was just a way for kids to hike and play golf and have a focused sport. And I got a ton out of it when I was younger.
That's great. I think more places need to do that. Like, we let the high school kids here, we let them play for $10. You know, it's $80. You play for 10. Actually, I think I made it 20 last year because the price went up, but still. And they're young. They take a cart. And, a couple times last year, I look out and they're on the 9th green and it's pouring rain. and the three boys are out there. Like, that's what a lifetime memory they're going to have, playing golf with their buddies. It's so fun too. Like, I become, as I got older, a cigar guy. So there's nothing better to me than getting on the first tee with my buddies and just busting chops and smoking a cigar. You're out there for 4.5 hours. And yeah, I played my buddy last night on our indoor golf simulator, and God, my sides hurt because we just rip on each other. It's so fun. Shane, he's my nemesis.
We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by the Rosenfield Collection of Functional Ceramic Art. The collection exists as an online resource for research and inspiration, featuring photos of over 4,000 objects made by over 1,000 artists. The images are high quality and can be used with no permission required, making them a great resource for students and teachers. To find out more, visit rosenfieldcollection.com. Well, I wanted to switch gears and talk a little bit about mental health and how your experience with dealing with your own mind has been improved through both golf and making pots, because both of those are focused activities. So can you talk a little bit about like the evolution of your own mental health?
I wish I knew more about it. I know as a young kid, I had addiction issues and I'm not sure where that came from. Maybe it was, the fatherly issues. My mother was a single mom, so we had just ultimate freedom, and we would have keg parties. And it was the 80s and the 90s growing up in Long Island in New York City. With all my friends were really rich, and my mom was a bartender. So I would just go to the city and hang out with these guys. And it just, before I knew it, I was 30 years old. So, and I went, wow, geez, I just lost a good chunk of my life to just be a drunk. And became a bartender because it was fun. And I never really thought much about mental health. I think I just kind of muscled through it all. But now as I got older, I think I start to understand how important it is to really know who you are and what you're doing, where you're going, Like my daughter, she's super smart, and my stepdaughter just got into Villanova, and my daughter's number one in her class. And I said, that's great. Just be a good person. I'm like, I don't care if you got straight A's. Don't be a jerk. Like, so I think I always masked. Honestly, I think what I've learned is that most of it comes from fear. I think there's that fear. The analogy is face everything and recover, or F everything and run. I don't know if you heard those before, probably.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think what I did was I pretended to be in a good mood for 25 years by being high and drunk, you know? And one thing I learned through recovery was life on life's terms, which was, and I used to say, I think after being sober for a few years, it's been almost 25 years now. I think I realized that I think it takes a bigger person to face life and deal with those emotional issues you're having every day. Why are you angry? Why are you happy? Right? Because I think anybody can just have a bad day at work and stop and get a 30 pack on the way home and just drink until midnight. Right? That's not facing the world. That's putting it aside. So I think pottery, and for me, it was always, like we talked earlier a bit about ADHD, which when I was a kid, I don't know if you're a little bit younger than I am, but when I was a kid, it was like, hey, stop it. And people would just slap you. You know what I mean? Like, sit down and shut up. I'm like, I'm trying. I can't. You're not listening. So that wasn't around when I was a kid. So the only thing that worked was just being high, I guess. And so now it's crazy. And golf does that for me because I don't know that I'm that happy for that long. Like ceramics, when I come in the studio, there's nothing going on in my head except what I'm making. It's kind of a block. You know what I mean? All the emotional stuff and everything I got to deal with just disappears because I get lost in the process and the outcome. And the decoration, it takes over, and I love it for that. I don't think I've ever found anything like it except golf. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm getting better, but I'll always be working on it.
Yeah, and I think if you have the addict mind, which I do, and you do, if you have a mind that wants stimulation, if you don't give it stimulation, it will make up stuff. And sometimes that means it'll make up fear, it'll make up anxiety, it'll make up anger, all these things. But then if you give it something to latch onto, I actually think it's kind of a superpower to be able to hyper focus on something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And like we mentioned earlier before we started recording, I think I may be wrong, but I think a lot of artists are addicts. I mean, wasn't Basquiat, didn't he die really young from addiction? And yeah, and I think when when people find that art is that release emotionally for them. It's fun to watch them go, right? Like they're like, oh, that's it. And they just let it all out. And yeah, that's what a great way to get it out. It's productive. I need it.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm still working on it. Yeah.
Well, it seems like also there's something in your decorative process that is the positive side of obsession. Like you're making pots that have like hundreds of marks on them, whether that's the grading of the Sureform or the brush mark. Like you're layering more and more and more. And I'm the same way. Like I'm a more is more kind of aesthetic. And I think that is actually like a soothing part of my brain.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that interesting too? Like what I just realized when you said that, the more is more type thing. It's like same thing with addiction. If I have one beer, 30's got to be great.
Right.
Right? It's not, but there's that like, yeah, this is not enough. I want to push it and push it and push it until it's crap. And then I back away from that. And there's something good in the back away. But also now, I'm realizing things as I talk to you, right? There's something to that push, 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 because it's learn, 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 and then learn what too much is, learn what doesn't work, and then go back to, oh, okay, I was right here on the edge, and that's a really fun sweet spot. So I'm still searching for the sweet spot, I guess. But
well, you have a podcast called Between Two Ewers, which is a great title.
yeah, thanks, man.
In the show, you talk to people all about their lives, but you actually make work while talking, which is so soothing. Like sometimes I'll just watch y'all make stuff, and then when I'm making stuff, I'm thinking like I'm a part of the thing.
Oh, that's
which
great.
Is like really cool. But one of the things that I've heard you talk with people a little bit about is self-doubt, like how to negotiate self-doubt. In fact, I think I was listening to Adrienne Iliadis, who's one of my friends, the interview you did with her, and y'all were talking about workshops in general, and y'all had a good sort of chat about how a lot of workshop teaching is helping people negotiate with themselves. Like, how do you help the crowd deal with themselves? And some of that is self-doubt. So can you talk about how you deal with self-doubt, and then as a workshop teacher and as a golf instructor, how you get the students to deal with their own self-doubt?
Darn, I should have made more coffee. That's a good one. That's a great question. Well, a couple answers to that. One, thanks for watching the show. I'm having so much fun. Somebody said the other day, how do you pick your guests? I go, I just see that they make really cool stuff, and I just want to chat. Adrienne was fantastic. She's really cool. I'm trying to, hopefully I'll get the chance to go to Idlewild. I told her, I said, hey, if you need somebody, let me know. And then we had Milo Berezin on the show like the next week, and he's going out there this summer. I wanted to have it be where we were making stuff together, because I want it to be more fun for people to actually, while they're listening, watch. And, and people they respect like Milo Berezin and Adrienne, they respect their work. And I think for them to watch them make it makes it that much cooler. But as far as self-doubt, yeah, we were talking about that. And there's that whole imposter syndrome. Especially, I mean, I don't know about you, but it's got to be stronger for addicts. Like, I am not worthy.
Oh, totally.
I am not worthy. Like, I still hate a lot of stuff I make, and like, I see people putting stuff out there and their prices are pretty high. And I'm like, I should really charge $400 for that. But I'm like, yeah, just give me 60, I don't know what it is. It's like, it's a fear. With golf, it's become easy because I got really good at it. And with people, when I'm teaching them to get over that, here's a great thing. Somebody asked me last year at the golf course, they said, when did you get really good at golf? And I said, when I stopped giving a shit where the ball goes. I don't care. It's fun. It's the least thing in my life that matters. I remember talking to or watching a golf pro talk about, he says, if you look at me when I'm playing on TV, he goes, somebody else is putting. He's like, you'll see me over there looking at the sky and looking at the water. He goes, I'm thinking about my family. I still got to go home and do laundry. I'm not not a billionaire. I'm a golfer. You know what I mean? So I, I, I try to push that through a little bit too. I think there's a lot of fear in people that are also trying to make the perfect thing, right? Just play. And that comes up a lot on the show. I think, gosh, 9 out of 10 artists I've had on the show have said, just keep making bad pots because the good pots will come, but you can't skip that part. Nobody starts as a scratch golfer. I had a guy 2 summers ago. He was a professional jazz trumpet player and he was a trumpet teacher, really well-known musician. And we worked on his swing and I fixed his swing. And he did what you said. He flushed one. He got it right in the middle of the face and it compressed it. And I said, there it is. That was it. And his face lit up. I said, now wait. Don't get ahead of yourself. I said to him, when you were a kid, 9, 10 years old, and you're sitting in your room playing scales on your trumpet, do, 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 do. I said, how many scales did you play? He says, oh my God, tens of thousands. I said, go to the range. You got to go get range balls. Just do it over and over again. Like, I think my pots have come a long way. And we talk about this on the show too. I mean, I don't know about you, but my mom has a shelf full of stuff that I wish she didn't have.
Uh-huh.
Get rid of that junk. So yeah, and then I go to teach workshops and I love doing them because I love having fun and making stuff with people and helping them find their way to make fun stuff. That's really what a great feeling that is. But at the same time, I don't know about you, but a month before, I'm thinking, I can't believe I signed up for this. Like NSYNC coming. I'm terrified. Like, all these people want to say hi and I got to do these demos. And I'm just like, oh God, why did I say yes? But I want it, well, who knows?
And thankfully, once your hands are in clay in front of people, it'll all take over and it'll be easy. Yeah. It's the mental lead up that's the hard part, but the making stuff in front of people I've always found is actually fun because then they're excited about what I'm making and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. They'll give me an idea and it's a positive feedback with the crowd.
Yeah, when I do workshops, I try to do a morning demo. Because I think I'll just make something real quick. We'll do a quick butter dish. It'll take about an hour and a half. And everyone has coffee and watches me make stuff and it kind of gets the day going. And it also eases me into the day too, where I'm not thinking, oh my God, I have to entertain these people. And that's tough too. Like I used to teach golf, like workshops with 5 or 6 people. And I don't do that anymore. I do single lessons because some people get it quicker than others, but they all paid the same. So I can't, if I'm teaching somebody, I got to spend time with this person and work on their swing because they're not getting it, but you are. So you're fine. I'm not going to you know what I mean? I can't just leave them alone. So it's tough, but yeah, love doing it.
Well, I wanted to end with a question about pricing because we talked a little bit about that before. Mm-hmm. A round of golf is $80 at the course now.
Yeah, 80, 85, yeah.
So knowing that, what do you think the lowest amount of money you should charge for a pot? Because in my mind, if a round of golf is 80, then your cheapest pot would be 80. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
Yes, no, 100%. And as you know, again, as an artist, pricing is the hardest part. Tim C, Tim, he came to my house the other day. He lives about an hour and a half away. We did part 1, part 2. I drove to his house. We threw a bunch of bowls and he came down here. He is funny as hell, by the way. But we talked about perceived value, right? Which is, some of his mugs are $400, $400, $600. Like, wow, oh my gosh. But you would think, so who did I tell this on the show the other day? People at the golf course, they say, what do you do in the winter? I say, I'm a potter, and they don't get it, and then I'll show them some Instagram photos and they go, oh, wow. They're surprised. Gee, thanks. But then one old lady, this lady, Pat, she always goes, ask him what he charges for mugs, because these little old ladies in this small town, $60, $75 for a mug. They're like, are you crazy? Right. I'm like, that's on the cheap end, believe it or not. My good buddy Marshall, who's coming to Ensika with me. I think if we see you there, you'll meet him. He's a lot of fun. He was episode 1. He makes his mugs $25 each. And I say, why are you doing that? He said, because I sell every single one of them. For me, there's a little too much surface decoration and time into each piece. But at the same time, I don't want to hold on to them. I kind of want to get rid of them. Like, I mean, especially as an artist, I'm trying to move on and better what I'm making. So when I have all these old pots and they're just sitting there, I don't know, just give me $30 for it, take it. Which I don't want to do that a lot, but I also don't want to be carrying stuff around. So I'm trying to find a sweet spot. It depends on the size and the decoration and I guess how it comes out, but I'd like to have my mugs be, $75-$80, but I also don't want to sit on them. Plus then you got to add shipping onto that. I don't know. It's tough.
We haven't talked about it yet, but you're in the Finger Lakes region, which economically is so weird. Like on the lakes, there will be houses that are worth a ton of money. And then you drive 10 minutes away from each of the lakes. You're in an agricultural area that's actually pretty poor. So It's a very weird environment.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah. Canandaigua Lake, which is like right there. It's about, I don't know, half a mile from where I'm looking. That is the highest price per acre in the country next to Lake Tahoe. It's like $1 million an acre, I think. It's insane. Yeah, but then you can go half an hour that way and it's just pure poverty. That's just mind blowing to me. So our little town is really nice. Naples, New York. It's a lot of artists, a lot of musicians. And we'd like to say it's kind of where rednecks and hippies hang out. They get along here. So it's a fun little town. Yeah, it's fun to be a part of.
Well, to wrap up, can you leave how people can listen to the podcast and then also your social media so they can see your work?
Absolutely. So the podcast is on YouTube under Between Two Ewers. It's on Spotify, and I think I have it on iTunes right now. I'm not sure. It's funny. I started the podcast just to be fun. I'm like, oh my God, it's a lot of work. I have 5 more shows coming up. I got one on Sunday that I have to reschedule actually. Instagram is Mike Griffin Ceramics and at Between Two Ewers, which we just keep doing giveaways, sponsored by Speedball. I actually had a giveaway out there right now. So yeah, they're giving away $100 gift cards and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. And then if they come to Ensika, I don't know when you're going to air this episode, but if they come to Ensika, top secret is we're giving away a wheel at the we're giving away an Artista wheel. So the last episode of the show, I'm stoked. I was like, how do I get in that? Oh, I want a ticket to that. So their Speedball has been great. The show is fun. Yeah, I got the name from Zach Galifianakis, Between Two Ferns, which is just so funny.
Well, thanks so much, Mike. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely, sir. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate you.
I'd like to thank Mike for coming on the show. It was a pleasure to chat with him, and I hope that you will check out Between Two Ewers. There are some really great moments in those shows, and it's also really nice to watch folks make their own work. It's kind of a workshop sort of experience while also being an interview podcast. So it's a great addition to the ceramic podcast landscape. Again, you can find that show wherever you listen to your podcasts, and of course, it is always on YouTube as well. Before we go, I'd like to thank today's sponsors. That's Monkey Stuff, the Rosenfield Collection of Functional Ceramic Art, and Snow Farm, the New England Craft Program. If you or your organization is interested in becoming a sponsor on the show, you can get in touch at talesofredclayrambler.com. I'll be back in a couple weeks with another episode. Thank you all for tuning in. If you'd like more information on the artists on the show, or if you'd like more information about the workshops and events that I'll be having in the next couple months, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook under Carter Pottery. Another great way to support the show is to leave me a comment on iTunes. To do that, search Tales of a Red Clay Rambler under iTunes Podcasts, and you'll find a page that's linked to our show. Thank you guys for the support.